Banana daiquiri ice cream cones. It's adult dessert time today. Moonshine Place Kitchen. Hello friends, and welcome to the Moonshine Place Kitchen. Boy, oh boy, we got something really cool, pun intended, to cook for you today. We're going to be making a Bacardi spiced rum induced banana daiquiri ice cream. And on top of that, we're going to make some homemade waffle cones, sugar waffle cones that'll serve to knock your socks off. Send the kids to bed. This is not for the kids. This is for the adults. You guys are going to enjoy this. It's a fun time. Let's get into it. We're going to start with 4 ripe bananas. We're going to get 4 ripe bananas here, and I'm going to go ahead and put them right in the mixer bowl. You can use a blender, food processor, whatever, but we want to get these mixed up a little bit, okay? We're going to go ahead and blend these up if I can get them in the bowl without dropping them everywhere, okay? And to this, we're going to add a 1/2 cup of whole milk. I've got this right here ready to go. 1/2 cup of whole milk. All right, and then on top of that, I've got some banana extract. Now, I've tried to buy really good banana extract along the way, and I've found that I can't get pure banana extract. You find stuff with banana flavoring and different chemicals and different things, and I did a little research here about a year ago, and I found out that it's the easiest thing to make. All you got to do, and this is my little bottle here of banana moonshine, but all you really got to do is get yourself about a dozen bananas. You want to go ahead and puree them up a little bit, still leaving chunks. You want to leave some chunks in it. Don't puree it too much. Make sure there's some chunks in there. And then you put that into a mason jar. Here, I got a mason jar right here. I just cleaned this jar not too long ago. I got a mason jar with a good seal, you can see. So go ahead and put the bananas in there and everything, then fill it right up with vodka. Fill it up with vodka. It could be cheap vodka. Doesn't matter, okay? Seal it up. Make sure you got a good seal. Seal it up. Let it sit for at least 6 months, 6 to 9 months. Let it sit. Forget about it. Let it sit. And in the end, you're going to come up with a beautiful, beautiful extract. It's just going to cook itself. When you do get this out of there, or one more thing I forgot to say, you can go ahead and throw a couple of banana peels in there as well. It's only going to add a little bit more flavor. When you take this out, remove the banana peels, get rid of those. Then put them in the blender and blend it up as fine as you want it. I've got it fairly fine here, but it's still got some little bits and pieces of banana in it, because when I use the banana extract, I don't mind having those pieces in there. For me, it's all good. It doesn't matter. It's all good. So let's get into it. We're going to go ahead and put 2 heaping tablespoons of homemade, well, let me shake it up a little bit, but homemade banana extract right in, okay? There we go. So you can see it's a little bit thick. I'll pour a little slower. You see it's a little bit thick, but boy, oh, I gotta invent smell-o-vision. This is crazy, okay? So there you go. We got beautiful banana extract right in there. And we're gonna go ahead, and we're just going to go ahead and mix this all up, and it's gonna get itself all mixed up and done nice. Don't go away. We're gonna come back in a quick minute here when this is all mixed up and ready to go, and we're gonna move on to the next process here to get that ice cream made. Don't go away. All right, moving on. It gets really easy at this point. All we got to do is we got to start off with a nice sized pot. We're going to get a little heat on that pot. There she goes. Not too hot. We don't want to get it too hot. We're going to start with 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. We get that right in the pot. If you've made ice cream before, it's a very basic, simple thing to make ice cream. When you start adding the flavors, that's when it gets a little bit more involved, but not terribly involved. 1/2 cup of whole milk. Don't forget, we also used a 1/2 cup with our banana extract mixture. So altogether, if you're not going to put like banana extract in, let's say you're going to make a vanilla bean ice cream, use a cup of milk and then add, I usually add at least 9, maybe between 9 and 12 inches of vanilla beans. Scrape the beans out, throw the stalks in there, remove the stalks, strain it. That's for regular vanilla, but we're not doing that today, and I don't want to confuse you, okay? 2/3 of a cup of sugar, granulated white sugar, okay? And so what we're going to do at this point, actually, let me get this stuff out of your way. What we're going to do is we're going to heat this up until the sugar dissolves. You need to stay on this now. This is kind of important. You got to keep this cream moving, but you got to get the sugar to dissolve in the mixture. I've also got 3 egg yolks over here in this bowl that I'm going to whisk up, and a little bit later we're going to go ahead and introduce those egg yolks very, very carefully, and then we're going to cook that for a few minutes as well. It's not really a difficult thing to do, but at this point in the ice cream making, you got to kind of stick with it a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and cook this. We're going to take a short break. We're going to flip this right over, and when I come back, we'll be putting these egg yolks in. No fuss, no muss. Don't go away. We're going to do a quick shift over right now. We're back. We're back. The sugar has broken now. I've removed the pot from the heat, and I'm still whisking it a little bit. Right now, it's a little bit up in temperature. It's not quite 150 degrees. I didn't check it, but I'm sure it's not quite that hot yet. But the sugar is broken. You can see that there's really no sugar granules anywhere. So that's in good shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this whisk and whisk up these egg yolks. And I'm sure you already know the worst thing you can do is just stick these egg yolks into that hot liquid. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a little bit of this liquid and we're going to introduce just a little bit as I'm whisking so we don't cook the eggs. There we go. Just a little bit. I'll keep that going. Although I wouldn't mind having some fried eggs right now. That actually sounds good. Maybe I'll stop making the ice cream and make up some fried eggs. Sunny side up. Now let's get back to this. So we're going to add a little bit more. Keep whisking. It's almost like making a brulee. Keep whisking. Not bad, not bad. I don't see any curdling. That's not bad. Now you may be more adventurous. You may do a lot more and a lot quicker than I'm doing, but I'm going to take it a little bit careful on this. So there you go. We're in pretty good shape there. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put this back into the pan. Put it right back in. I'm off the heat right now, okay? Get that out of the way. Now I'm going to return it to the heat. And I'm going to continue to whisk, but I'm putting a thermometer in at this point. All right? We're putting a thermometer in at this point. And I'm going to keep this whisking. Now, there's one more thing we're going to do. We're going to go back and get our mixture that we made earlier with the bananas and the extract. And we're going to go ahead and introduce that in now as well. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I put that in the refrigerator while we were waiting. And that's set up a little bit. Looks really, really nice. So we're going to go ahead. Let me get rid of this thermometer for a moment because it's not that hot. Okay. And we're going to start introducing this little mixture right in. Okay. Oh, the smells are off the charts. You guys get tired of hearing me say this, but there's so much richness in banana smell and flavor. I'm sure it's going to be. Okay. Now, if you wanted to add a little cinnamon or a little nutmeg or something to really spice it up that way, you know, be my guest. Do whatever you want to do at this point. I'm going to avoid adding too much to it right now so we can just do the basic recipe. And don't forget that spiced rum, we're going to add that, but we're not going to add the spiced rum till a little bit later. We're going to actually add that to taste when we're actually churning the ice cream, because I don't want to cook the alcohol out of the rum. When you eat your ice cream, you want to get a little shot of alcohol in there, don't you? I do. So there you go. If you can see on the overhead, we have our whole batch here. The color is richened up quite a bit. And another thing, I don't want to get too ahead of our recipe, but we're going to go ahead and add, I have a couple of bananas in the freezer right now. I'll jump over to this camera. Hi. We have a couple of bananas in the freezer right now that's been frozen. put them in this morning, peeled them, put them in the freezer, obviously in a container. And we're going to go ahead and cut those up into banana slices later when we're churning. So there's little bits of banana in there when you scoop it out. It's always nice when you have like any kind of fruit ice cream, you know, whether it's cherry or whatever you end up making, blueberry, whatever type of ice cream you actually end up making, black cherry. In this case with the banana, you have some chunks of banana in there. So that's really a good thing. So let's see what we got for temperature here. I might have to turn the heat up a little bit. She's coming up right now. I don't want to bore you guys too long. But what I'm going to do is as soon as this comes up to about 170 degrees and coats the back of a spoon, that's what I'm aiming for. I want to be able to stick the spoon in there, pull it out, and have a firm coating of the cream mixture we have right now in the back of a spoon. And that usually coincides with my experience at right around 170 degrees. And it usually takes a few minutes to do that. You know, I may be cooking this for about 7 minutes, but I'm going to cut this short right now. So that's what we're going to do, okay? So as I cook this down, it'll thicken. We're going to coat the back of the spoon. I'm going to strain it. I'm going to strain it into this bowl. We're going to take that bowl and put it in the refrigerator. We're going to let it sit up. You really should let it sit up for at least 4 hours. 4 hours is about the minimum. Overnight really works best, but we're going to go ahead and let this sit up for about 4 hours here today, and then we're going to churn it. But in the meantime, while that's sitting up for that 4 hours, we're going to make these cones, and it doesn't take 4 hours to make cones. But we're going to make those ice cream cones. They're really fun to do, and I'm going to give away a little secret on that. We're going to use a little chocolate on that as well. We're going to dip them in chocolate a little bit too. It's so much fun. Come on back. Come on back. Let's get them ice cream cones made. Let's get them made, those waffle ice cream cones. Very, very simple. Got my KitchenAid out here. We're going to start with 1 egg plus 1 egg white. Get that in the bowl. We're going to go with 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. That's about right, okay? Salt. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, okay? 1/2 cup of sugar. That goes in. All right, 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons of flour. Put that in there. 1/2 stick of unsalted butter. Put that right in there. 2 tablespoons of whole milk. And then 1 tablespoon of vanilla, pure vanilla. If you know, if you've watched our other shows, you know I love Jamaican vanilla, and this is Jamaican. Well, actually, no, this is St. Thomas. I've got to go to Jamaica and get more vanilla. Boy, I'd like to do an on-site shoot in Jamaica buying the vanilla. I might actually do that. So there you go. Go ahead and get it in there. I'm going to start, obviously, in a slow mix. But we're going to get that mixed up extremely well. It's going to mix for a few minutes here until there's no lumps. Mix it until there's no lumps. Then we're going to let that sit. We're going to let that sit idle for 5 to 10 minutes. In that time, we're going to heat up our waffle iron and we're going to start making our cones. We're also going to get some chocolate going here so we can dip the tips into chocolate. It's all happening now. It's fun. Don't go away. Come on back. We're back. We're back. Time to get the cones, the batter for the cones down onto the waffle iron. Okay. So this has been sitting here about, well, the better part of 10 minutes. I've got a double boiler going here with some chocolate heating up because we're going to be needing that in a few minutes. That's kind of going to happen after the cone cools down. But I'm going to heat the chocolate anyway and get the run on that a little bit. But I've got this little waffle iron here that we just got about a week ago. It's especially for cones. It's a Proctor Silex. I'm still getting used to it, so if I overfill it a little bit, it's going to be interesting. I used it the other day, and first I short filled it, and then I overfilled it. But anyway, like any other waffle iron, you want to get a little spray butter on there, or any kind of lubricant to keep it from sticking. This is 2 tablespoons, so I'm going to go ahead and put, I think we're going to go with 4 tablespoons here and see how this works out. The other day I came up short and big, so let's see what happens with 4 tablespoons. Now the pressure's on, Gary. Let's see if we end up with a waffle that's just the right size. I'm sorry, a cone, a waffle cone that's just the right size. Press that top down and let that cook. I'm going to flip the camera off here because this takes about 4 or 5 minutes. But I'm going to tell you, if I overfill it, if it comes out the sides, you're going to be the second to know, and the third and the fourth, and hopefully more than that. Don't go away. This thing's cooking, and we got to roll it up, and that's going to get really chancy. But I think I got a system for that. Don't go away. You'll see how I do it. All right, we're back, and I'm going to take a look at this for the first time. I went with 4 tablespoons. That's actually for coffee beans. That's like for making coffee in the morning. It's 2 tablespoons each. I use that a lot in cooking. I like it. It's got a long handle, whatever. I'm boring you. But let's take a look here. I didn't see any batter come over the edges of this machine, and I'm real anxious to see if I got it right. So let's see. Let's see if I'm a fool or not. Let's see. Let's lift that up. Ha 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 ha. Look at that. It's still got to cook another couple of seconds here, but look at that. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Anyway, that's looking really good. Why did I decide to go ahead and make homemade cones? Well, I'll be honest with you. Generally, when we go out to the ice cream store, I always go for the sugar cones, or if they make a homemade waffle cone at the ice cream store, at the ice cream shop. I like that because everybody has something that's fresh. If you go to the fair, wherever you're going, amusement parks, to get that fresh cone flavor. I'm not knocking the other cones that you buy in the box and bring home, but sometimes they get stale or they just have like a flat taste to them. But these sugar cones, listen, either you're going to agree or disagree, but a homemade fresh sugar cone is incredible. And when I mean fresh, like you make it and you use it. You know what I'm saying? That's looking pretty good. So I think I'm going to take that off now. With the kit comes a thing to make like a bowl. So if you want to do like a bowl and put fruit in it. But here's the cone that we're going to shape it on. And what's kind of important is you got to have a nice clean towel like this here. So what we're going to do is let's peel this off of here. That looks pretty good. And it's going to be hot, but it's still, oh yeah. But it's still pliable, so let's get this out of the way for a second. We'll get this right down on here. And you got to work kind of fast. So you put this right like this, and you use the towel to roll one side over like that. And then, oh, come on, Gary, you can do this. And then we get the other side. There we go. Now we got it. Unfortunately, you can't see what I did, but you roll one side over the other. And then what I do is I put the end of this against my stomach, and you got to hold it like that. That wasn't the most finesseful way I've ever done anything, and hopefully the overhead camera got some kind of shot. But basically you roll one side down, the other side over, and you got to hold it together on the cone. Is it a little bit of work? Yeah. But come on, if you're here watching this video, you want to do something that's a little bit fun and fresh for your family, you know what I mean? That's really cool. Impress your family a little bit, impress your friends, you know? Impress your enemies, for all I care. So there you go. So you got to hold this down for about 10-15 seconds, and she'll start to cool off and form up her shape. All right, so here we go. I've bored you with enough stuff while I'm trying to wait, and there we go. Ho, ho, ho. Homemade cone. Isn't that pretty, huh? Isn't that pretty? That came out really nice. Now you see the bottom's open a little bit. So I'm going to let this cool. I'm going to let this cool to the touch, and then I'm going to dip it in that chocolate. I don't think it's going to hold right now. The cone's a little bit too warm, but that came out kind of nice, really nice, and the flavor is going to be good. So I've got plenty of batter. I'm going to make a bunch more cones while we're at it, and I'm going to dip this in the chocolate. You're not going to actually see me dip it, but I'm just going to basically dip it in when this cools, turn it, and let it dry, and cork up that bottom. But in the meantime, don't go anywhere because we're going to go ahead and stop filming for the moment. And we're going to come back in a couple more hours. We're still waiting on our ice cream to chill out. in the refrigerator, and then we're going to get that. We're going to start churning that in the KitchenAid setup, and then it gets really simple. We can eat it as soft ice cream or put it back in the freezer and let it harden up. However you want to do it. I like it a little bit soft. Talking about the ice cream, I like it a little bit soft, but to each their own. Don't forget, we're going to add a little shot of booze to that ice cream later. Probably going to separate some of that ice cream from my daughter, but for my wife and I, a little shot of booze. Nice thing to do, okay? And you might want to do that, especially if you're going to have a little party on New Year's Eve. A little stoked up ice cream is a good way to go. Don't go away. We'll be back in a little while. Cones will be done with the chocolate. All the fun is already here. It's going on. Don't go away. We'll see you. Welcome back. Welcome back. We're ready to churn up some of that ice cream. Let's get that going right away. So, KitchenAid makes a special ice cream bowl that you freeze. Okay? And this has some kind of chemical in the walls of it. The chemical does not get into the bowl itself, but it's pretty thick. And that chemical freezes and really does a good job when you're churning up the ice cream. You get a better view that way. So that really works extremely well. So we get that mounted up on the KitchenAid. That works good. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to lower the head down and line up the paddle. Now I also froze the paddle, okay? We'll use that in a minute. I also froze the paddle. Always makes a lot of sense to freeze. If you're whisking or whatever you're doing, freeze both things, okay? Now, I've separated out some of the batter for my daughter, which will not end up having any liquor in it, and the rest of the batter is sitting here just like this. So we're going to go ahead, and actually I lied. Let me take this out for a minute and get this batter in here because I'll never be able to pour it in. But we're going to go ahead and pour this batter in because we will be adding the spiced rum into this as we're churning. There's little bits of essence from the bananas in there. Now before we went to break, I mentioned that we had cut up, or we had 4 bananas in the freezer frozen. While I was at break, I went ahead and cut them up into little bits, and I'm keeping them frozen because we're going to add those in very, very late while we're churning so that they don't break up. Obviously, if you put like a fresh banana in there, all it's going to do is really break up. You know what I mean? You're really not going to get out of it what you want to do. So we'll get that realigned just like that. Okay, and we're going to turn it on and let it start to go. Now the idea here is it's a slow measure, a slow turn. It's going to take a little bit. It's not going to take as long as you might think, but it's going to take a little bit. And I'm going to go and get that spatula back in a minute so I can wipe the walls down of the ice cream maker. I don't know if you can get really a good view from overhead, but you can see that the batter is sucking up on the walls already, and it's already starting to freeze, so that's actually a good sign. Our ice cream batter is starting to thicken up very nicely right now. I'm going to put it down very, very low, and we're going to go. We got Bacardi, like I said, it's spiced rum. It's got a little kick to it. But we're going to go with 2 ounces. This is going to make, well, this will make about 2 servings of ice cream. It's not a lot of ice cream we're making. And if you're going to put it in the cones, you'll probably get about, when I say 2 servings, I'm basically talking about 2 man-sized servings. So with the cones, you'll probably get, let's see, we made 6 cones. You'll get enough ice cream for 6 cones or 2. For all the husbands out there or guys that like to sit and eat a big bowl of ice cream like myself, you get about 2 servings out of it. So there you go, 2 ounces of this spiced rum. And you know what? I've got to make sure that this is good. I've had it before, but I got to try it again. Delightful. Oh, is that good? So delicious. So we're going to keep churning, and pretty soon we're going to have something that's worth looking at. And we've been churning here for the better part of 20-25 minutes, and she's formed up really, really well. We got some beautiful soft ice cream in here. The next step is going to be, and let me check this before I go to the next step. Yeah, The next step is going to be, we're going to add some of those frozen banana pieces I talked about earlier. So let me go ahead and grab those. And we got those in here, okay? So, what we're going to do is we'll shut this off. I really don't want to churn the banana pieces. What I want to do here, I thought I left another spatula out. Let me grab another spatula here. What I want to do is fold them into the ice cream. I really don't want to break these up. And the reason why, like I said before, I want to put these in frozen is that I just don't want to, have them break apart like any normal piece of banana would, you know. And I'm probably going to go ahead and let this set up in the freezer a little bit before I put it in the ice cream cone. It's soft like a soft ice cream cone, but I can't really scoop it, you know. So I'm going to go ahead, let me get rid of that. So here's what we're going to do, is I'm going to go ahead and put some of those in. Got to leave some for Anna, for her little bit of ice cream. Move those to the side. And I'm just going to fold these in. Fold those banana pieces right in there. Let me take this off so you can see right from that angle, okay? If I can hold that and do that. Basically just fold those right in. And they suck that right up. It looks pretty good in there. Now I'm not going to lie to you, I did take a little taste of this a minute ago and it's insanely good. It's so, so good. So there you have it. I'm going to go ahead and put this in another plastic bin. I'm going to stick it in the freezer here and let it set up for an hour or two. And then I'll get it in the cone and we'll finish up this video and we'll actually have something. Don't go away. We'll be right back doing that next. And there you have it, folks. There you have it. I set it in the freezer just for a little bit to set up a little bit. It's like soft ice cream. It's a beautiful, beautiful ice cream cone. There it is, swung around. We had dipped it in chocolate. We got a little shot in there. It's our banana daiquiri with the rum, the spiced rum, the Bacardi spiced rum. You see where I just scooped it out of? But now comes the taste test. Are you ready? Not like I didn't taste it already. I know it's good, but here it is on the cone. You ready? Oh my. That's good. That's really good. You know what? Before I say any more, I got to get another lick of that. Oh man. Absolutely delicious. So there you have it, okay? We want to thank you for joining us on the Moonshine Place Kitchen, and I'm not even going to say it. I'm going to eat my ice cream. I'll see you next time.